Hey everyone. Recently, as you probably saw on my channel, I did a video giving my thoughts and overview on what people had to say about Season 8. Season 8's premiere, that is. And even though I just saw a few snippets here and there, and I did download the premiere courtesy of somebody over at one of the Facebook group pages, and saw a bit of the beginning, as I've kind of noticed with a lot of the people, a lot of the reviews and reactions and thoughts that people have provided, bronies and Pegasisters in the fan community have provided, I've kind of noticed that exactly what I said in my video and in my text that I typed up and posted at MLP forums and Equestria Daily and Twitter. I kind of noticed that what I said there is basically true. I kind of noticed a 60-40 like split when it comes to the Season 8 premiere. Some people, if not a majority of the fan base, the community, the bronies and the Pegasisters, 60% of them liked the premiere. They liked the idea of the expansion of the world. They liked the idea of the inclusion of these new characters and stuff. They liked it. They enjoyed it. And sometimes change is good. As long as it doesn't really disrupt the status quo sometimes, or what brought you to the dance. Change is very good. There's no doubt about that. However, like I said, it's kind of a 60-40 split. Because even though 60% of the fan base, from what it sounds like, enjoyed this premiere, and we'll find out probably throughout this week if whether more fans, bronies, Pegasisters, the community itself enjoyed it, especially with BabsCon this weekend. We'll find out how many of the fan base, or how much of the fan base enjoyed it, as well as the Rift Cafe members like Lightning Bliss, Firebrand, Josh Scorcher, Thespio, Dal Wilsonator, Silver Quill, Keyframe, and all of them. We'll find out from their own perspective what they enjoyed about it. As well as, like I said, we'll find out from a lot of other fans what they thought about it as well. Heck, when Firebrand gets there and when Aramal gets there and reunites with Firebrand, maybe they'll do a panel and they'll do a dual review, a co-review together on this episode. Maybe they'll take time to do that. But anyway, yeah, BabsCon to me is going to be one of the defining points of whether or not this is going to be an overall enjoyable episode. That if the overall fan base grows even more in its enjoyment, or grows even more in its disappointment. So we're going to find out whether the enjoyment, the positive grows, or the negative grows. But here's why I mention this, because to me, this season is going to kind of define. It's going to be this season is definitely going to be a turning point. There's no doubt. There's going to be a turning point, but I don't think we have to worry too much because here's what I see, and I mentioned this in the video, and I mentioned this in my text, and I've mentioned this before as well. A lot of fans that probably didn't like this premiere don't like it due to the fact that it kind of presents a probability in their eyes. A huge probability that this new cast of characters, this new main six, or this new creature six, or whatever you want to call them, is going to replace the established main six or main seven. I can assure you, as I've said before and I'll say again, I can assure you, if you look on the episode list that was leaked online and is pretty much now being officially put online, in a sense, if you look at the episode list and you count all 26 episodes, you will notice that you only have 8 to 9 more episodes of school-related stories. You only have 8 to 9 episodes of school-related, school-centered stories to deal with. Maybe maybe 1 or 2 more, but that's about it. But mostly, from what I can tell, just by the descriptions, you have 8 to 9 more to go. On the other hand, when it comes to non-school relations, or non-school related or non-school centered episodes, you have 15 to 16. So in other words, if you're worried about the status quo, if you're that 40%, in my opinion, that is worried about the status quo, and that's the reason you didn't like this premiere, don't worry. That status quo isn't going to be interrupted because you got 15 to 16 episodes that are dedicated to the established cast, to the main seven, to Spike, to Starlight, to Sunburst, to Rarity, to Twilight, to Applejack, to Fluttershy, to Pinkie Pie, to Rainbow Dash. They all have episodes centered around them. So if you're worried that the status quo is going to get interrupted, it won't. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let me give you an example. Okay? When season 4 happened, did the status quo change much? No. The status quo didn't change. The only thing that was different for that season was the focus on the rainbow powers, on the main 6 discovering, if you will, the rainbow power connection. That's all it was. That's all season 4 was. And did we see the rainbow powers after that? Did we see the rainbow powers? Sorry about that. But did we see the rainbow powers after that? No. Not really. The only time we saw them was at the beginning of Do Princesses Dream of Sheep, or something like that. Do Princesses Dream of Sheep. That's the only time we saw the return of the rainbow powers, but that was at the beginning in a dream sequence. We've never seen them back besides that. Okay? We've never seen them return. In fact, let me give you another example. When season 7 started to get focused on the legends of Equestria, on the pillars, did that change the status quo when they came back? Were they becoming the main focus to replace the main 6 or the main 7? No. They were there they were referenced, they were brought in, they were talked about, and we haven't seen them since. But from what I understand, we will see at least 1 or 2 or 3 members come back later this season. But besides that, they have not interrupted the status quo. The same with this. This is basically the same thing. You're getting 8 to 9 episodes focused, mind you, on the new characters, on the school, on the friendship school and all that. But you're also getting in return 15 to 16 episodes. You're basically getting 7 to 8 more episodes dedicated to the original status quo, focused on the main characters, focused on characters like the CMCs, what have you. Now, true, there's no doubt that some of these non-school centric, non-new character centric episodes may start at the school, may show the new characters in some way or form, may give them some kind of part here and there. But overall, that's about it. That's all they're going to do. I mean, the new characters, like I say, they may have a part in some of these non-school centered, non-new student, non-new six, if you will, main six, if you will, episodes. They may have a say here and there. They may have a part here and there. But that's about it. The only reason they would have parts, if you will, or say, or some kind of interaction is so that you know they're still there. But the main focus is going to be on the main six, or the main seven in some way. And let's not forget one other thing, okay? Let's not forget one other thing. Just because other characters get the focus on them doesn't mean the show is going to go away, it's going to distance itself from the established characters, from the main characters. No, it's not going to do that. Let's take a look at season 6's finale. Who were the ones, until a majority of them got captured, who were the ones that were to the rescue to save Equestria? Starlight, Trixie, Thorax, Discord. They were the ones that were on the verge of saving Equestria, and they did, even though 4 of them, with the exception of Starlight, got captured. Then let's take a look at season 7 itself. Let's take a look at All Bottled Up and To Change a Changeling. I think that was the episode. Who are the focuses? Who are the focuses there? Starlight and Trixie. Starlight, in a sense, was starting to become an established main character, basically now making it go from main 6 to 7. And Trixie, would be there every now and then and try to establish herself as a semi-regular character. So just because the main 6 doesn't get focused on sometimes in episodes doesn't mean Hasbro's going to turn away from them. They're not. If that was the case, they would dedicate every episode this season to the new Creature 6, to the new main 6, to this young main 6, or whatever they're calling them. They would dedicate every episode to them, not to the established characters. But they're not doing that. They're doing what's right. They're using 15 to 16 episodes focusing on the main 7, main 6, if you will. That's what they're doing. Now, you might say, well, I read about I kind of have an idea, or I read about what the season 8 finale is going to be like. That's not really that's featuring more of the students, right? In a sense, yes. And that is a school-related 2-parter. There's no doubt. But remember, it's not just the students they're focusing on. You also have, from what I understand, the CMCs. But you got to remember who's behind this season. Who's the new executive producer? Nicole Duboc. Now, I know she's going to get a lot of questions asked of her this weekend at BabsCon. People are going to probably ask her, why is she focusing, why this is happening, why that is happening, why the finale, from what they understand, is going to mainly have this new cast of young main 6 characters and the CMC be the heroes and not the established main 6 or 7. I'm pretty sure she's going to get bombarded. And she's going to probably answer the best she can. And maybe one of the answers she'll give is she wants to take elements from the Ponyville mystery books and bring them into the show. Because let's not forget, the Ponyville mystery books are focused sometimes, if not primarily, on the younger characters in the franchise, like the CMNCs. You have maybe 1 or 2 of the main 6 in there, and that's about it. But again, does that mean that the main 6, the main 7 is going to get pushed to the side? No. Does that mean Celestia and Luna are going to get pushed to the side? No. I mean, true, we may not see much of Luna this year. Maybe we will. I'm not really sure. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm not sure about Cadence. I have to look back on that. I think she comes in this year too, but I don't know. But the point is, just because these new characters are going to get some focus on, and it's going to basically lead to everything coming full circle at the end of the season, doesn't mean it's going to interrupt the status quo. I mean, DHX Media and Hasbro, and mostly the creative staff behind the show, realize that they can't end the series. If season 9 is the last season, they can't end the series by focusing a majority of that season on these new young main six, this new young main six or creature six set of characters. They can't do that. Because what it's going to do is it's going to upset the fans. It's going to make them doubt whether or not they could trust the writers anymore and the creative staff. And they're going to want people that, and when it comes to Gen 5, they're going to want people that know what they're doing, that understand the franchise, to be the ones in charge. So I don't think Hasbro and DHX and the creative staff behind the show are going to have season 9, the final season, if that is the final season, be focused on these new characters. What's going to happen, and I mentioned this in my video and what I typed up, is I believe this will be the only, and I repeat, only season that's going to focus on the School of Friendship, and will be the only season in which you'll have episodes centered around the students. Because next season, if that's the final season, most of that, I believe, is going to be focused on the main 7, on the main 6, main 7, if you will, and their adventures in Equestria. I believe season 9 is basically going to be filled with great stories. It's going to be filled with, of course, some new characters and returning characters. Heck, it's going to be a season, I believe, we're going to see the return of Tempest. I truly believe that's going to happen. I think in season 9, the reason we don't see Tempest or Kappa or the Pirates here is because we're going to see them in season 9. I believe that's what's going to happen. And the same with Skystar and Novo. We're going to see them in season 9. I truly believe that. They're going to return there, along with some new characters. And you'll also see the return of the students, of course, but the students are going to kind of be like Ember and Thorax and all them. They're going to return when the story calls for it. That's what's going to happen. And of course, the other reason they're bringing in these characters as well, if you want the truth, and I think anybody listening can agree upon this, is they're bringing them in to try to attract and bring back that original established targeted audience that was supposed to be the targeted audience at the beginning, even though Lauren Faust, who developed the series, said otherwise, and that's the young children, that's the young girls, that's the young boys. Bring them in by having these new set of characters. But if that's the goal that Hasbro wants, I hate to say this to Hasbro, it's a good idea, but it's not going to work. Because I think what's going to happen is when you start showcasing or airing, when you and DHX start airing all these non-school centric, non-new character episodes that are basically firmly focused on the main 6 individually or as a group, or along with characters like the CMC or Mar Pie or Big Mac or Sugar Bell, what's going to happen is those non-school centered episodes, non-new student character episodes, are going to get higher ratings, higher viewership than the school-centric ones, because fans are going to want to see those more than the school-centric ones, even though they appreciate the expansion of the world and the introduction of these new characters. But a lot of them feel, but here's why I think that's going to come true. Here's why I feel the viewership for the episodes that are focusing on the established characters and their established side characters are going to come into play. And be more viewed and more popular than the school-centered ones. Here's why. Because a lot of fans, and that 40% and maybe even some of the 60%, look at these new 6 young characters and they see nothing more than carbon copies of the main 6. That's what they see. They see carbon copies of the main 6. Silverstream, carbon copy of Pinkie Pie. Oculus, carbon copy of Fluttershy. Yana, in a sense, could end up being a carbon copy of Rarity. smolder, carbon copy of, let's say, Rainbow Dash or Applejack. The Griffin Girl, carbon copy of Rainbow Dash or Applejack. Same way. And Sandbar, in a sense, could be a carbon copy of Twilight. That's what they see. That's why I believe when you have the episodes that focus on the main seven, if you will, those are going to get higher viewership numbers than the episodes that are focused on the school and these new characters, these new main Creature 6 characters. That's what's going to happen. So if Hasbro and DHX's original intention was to basically use these new characters to bring back that original intended young audience of young girls and boys, it's going to backfire. I hate to say it's going to backfire. Now, would it succeed if it was its own series? Oh, absolutely. And maybe that's the intention. Maybe they're planning to give these characters their own series down the line. We've seen that with any kind of series in the past. They will use an established series to kind of slowly spin off new characters into their own thing. Live action has done it. Animation has done it. It wouldn't be a surprise if this happens here. But this is why I don't think anybody, especially that 40% and maybe part of the 60%, don't need to worry about Season 9 being all about these new characters. Because it's not going to happen. Hasbro, DHX Media, and the creative staff know what brought this show to the dance. Knows what brought this show to the success that it is today. Know what made it the pop culture phenomenon it is today. And that is not just the great stories, but the characters themselves that they know and love. That's why Season 8 basically is... It's going to be... Season 8 to me... And I'm looking at my time here. I got to get me some lunch in a little bit. Season 8 to me is going to basically be the season that really shows Hasbro and DHX Media what brought them to the dance. And I think they realize this because, like I said, and I know I sound like a broken record. I do apologize for that. But I believe Hasbro, DHX Media, and the writing staff, they realize that because 15 to 16 of the episodes are non-school related, are non-new Creature 6, Young Main 6 related, and they focus primarily on characters on the main 6. They focus on side characters like Big Mac and Sugar Belle. It focuses on characters like Starlight and Sunburst, Starlight and Trixie, Starlight and Discord. It focuses on, like I said, Rarity, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Twilight, Pinkie Pie. It focuses on them. It doesn't take away from the status quo. It focuses on them. So they're keeping things, in a sense, balanced. Because you only have 8 or 9 more episodes. Of 8 or 9 more school-related episodes, and you have a huge break in between now and the next school-centered related episode, which is supposed to feature Applejack and Rainbow Dash taking the students on a field trip or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's basically what the next school-centered episode, from what I understand, is supposed to be. But between that, you kind of get a bit of a break. Like I said, though, and I apologize for repeating myself. Like I said, you know, the new students in the school, they will make appearances. They will have some interactions, but they won't be the primary focus. They'll have small parts here and there, so you still know that they're there. They're still part of the show, but they won't have a primary focus. And that, to a lot of fans, is a good thing, being not a bad thing. Because at least you're still saying, yeah, we're going to feature these characters, but a majority of these episodes that they're going to make some appearances in are not going to focus on them, which is good. And again, this tells me they realize what brought this show, what brought fans to the show, what made it the phenomenon it is, what brought in the Brony community, what brought in the Pegasus community, the overall fan base community, is not only the great stories, but the characters. That's why Season 8 is going to be a season where, yes, the only reason it's being done is to sell new toys, is to sell a new playset based on the School of Friendship, is to connect the movie to the series. But I guarantee you, after it's all said and done, the final season is going to focus primarily on the main 6, main 7. And yes, even the students are going to be involved, but they'll only come back when necessary. And Season 9, in my opinion, is going to bring back and see the return of the movie established characters as well. So for anybody, so that basically is my discussion on what Season 8 is going to be like, and how it's going to, and what, basically that's my overall discussion on what Season 8 is going to be like for the rest of this season, and how it's going to help Season 9 become possibly what it is, which Season 9 possibly being the final season, what it could, basically help Season 9 become what it is and such. But also, Season 8 is going to be the point. It's going to be the main established point in the history of the show, in the history of the franchise, to kind of let the creative staff know that change is good, expanding on a world is good, but don't mess with what brought you to the dance. And I think, in my honest opinion, Season 8 is going to help define what Season 9 is going to be like. And Season 8 is going to help define what the fan base expects out of the creative staff. And again, like I said, BabsCon is coming up, and I won't be surprised that a lot of the creative staff and voice talent that go there are going to get bombarded with questions about this season. And mostly those questions are going to be like, are you planning to replace the main 6 with these new characters? And I guarantee you the answer is going to be no, because they know what brought them to the dance. So that's all I'm going to say, folks. I'm going to get me some lunch. I'm sorry for some wind that you may hear, but I thought I'd just take this time to give my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I am out. Take care. God bless.